Welcome to Layer the Alchemist, where we discuss all things heavy metal and hard rock. On today's episode, let's take a look at my most recent community poll. This is where I put out a couple of different albums from bands that are maybe a little bit divisive. They can show up low on people's lists when they're ranking the discography of these bands. Some people love them, some people don't. I was inspired to do this from my I'm Out Def Leppard Hysteria video, where I had a lot of people agree with me, but I also had a lot of people come at me pretty hard. I got a lot of thumbs down on it, and some people claiming I was a complete idiot. That album was a masterpiece, so I thought, you know what? Let's put it to the masses. Let's put it to the people out there. Let's see what you guys have to say. All right, so the first one I had was Rate the Following Album, Def Leppard Hysteria. We got 297 votes on this one. All of the albums, I did it the same way. I had 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, 5 star. 1 star was a terrible album. 2 stars, a few good songs, but overall not very good. 3 stars, decent album, bunch of good songs with a few clunkers. 4 stars, very good album, maybe only 1 or 2 weak songs. And 5 stars, excellent album, Stone Cold classic, every song rules. So for Def Leppard Hysteria, with the 297 votes, 27% of you said it's 2 stars. Few good songs, overall not very good. Next highest was 24%, which was a terrible album. Next was 23%, which was 4 stars, very good, few weak songs. Next highest was 3 stars at 20%, decent album. Bunch of good songs, few clunkers, and 6% said it's an excellent album, Stone Cold classic, every song rules. All right, so there you go. This was interesting because the other polls that I did, there was a pretty big gap between the first choice and the rest of the choices, but for all these albums, these were a lot closer. But I think it's safe to say that although there's a few good songs on this record, it's overall one that's not held very high in high regard from a lot of, at least the people who voted on this. And contrary to what, a lot of people came at me pretty hard at this, that, why do you even have this record if you hate it so much? Well, I don't know if the people didn't quite watch all of the video. I did mention that I thought that I did like some of the deeper cuts on the record, like Gods of War and some of the stuff that's on side 2. And my big complaint with the album was the production and the way it was kind of assembled. It just didn't feel like felt very almost like it was made on a computer, like I mentioned in the video. But like I said, there are some songs that I like on it. So for me, I would actually probably give it 2 stars, which is what the majority of people gave it. There's a few good songs on it for me, but overall, it's not very good. As somebody who, came up, discovered them with Pyromania and High and Dry and stuff like that, the album just left me feeling flat. But I'm not going to get into this right now. I'm going to make a video on this at some other point. But I just want to say that when it comes to stuff like this, everybody is welcome to their opinion. And at the end of the Def Leppard Hysteria video, I even said, hey, I want to hear from the people who like this album. Let me know why you like it. So there's no reason to get hostile. There's no reason to get angry. We're all entitled to our own opinions. And as long as people put it out there in a respectful way and have a thoughtful opinion on why they don't like an album, I can respect that. Why they love an album or why they don't like an album. Just simply saying this album sucks is not a very good comment. We don't learn anything from that. Or just saying you're an idiot, this album is the greatest in the world. That doesn't help anybody either. Let us know why you think it's the greatest album in the world without being disrespectful to anybody, or let us know why you really don't dislike the record, Okay, next, we'll leave that go there. Save that for another video. All right, next we had Rate the Following Album, Scorpions, Savage Amusement. 35% came in at 3 stars, decent, few clunkers. Next was 31% at 2 stars, a few good songs, but overall not very good. Next highest was 4 stars, very good album, maybe only a few weak songs. 14% 1 star, terrible album, and 4% thought it was 5 stars, an excellent album, Stone Cold classic. This is going to be another album that I'm going to make a video on with an I'm out. What can I say? I would have came in probably at 2 stars, a few good songs, but overall not very good. It really, I'll save it for my thoughts on that video, but overall that was an album that lost me with the Scorpions, and then I really didn't follow them too much after that. That had 217 votes, by the way. All right, next, Ozzy Osbourne, Osmosis, 244 votes, 37%, 2 stars, a few good songs, but overall not very good. Next, 30%, decent album, bunch of good songs with a few clunkers, that was 3 stars. Next highest was 18%, 1 star, terrible album. 10%, 4 stars, very good. At 5%, 5 stars, Stone Cold classic. I'm a contrarian on this one. I actually kind of like this record. I would have came in at 4 stars. Very good album, maybe a few weak songs. I can understand, and here again, this is where, being respectful to other people's opinions, I can understand why someone wouldn't like this record. It is very slickly produced. It's very kind of, far removed from what Ozzy was in the albums before this. But I'm a fan of well-produced records, slickly produced records. And I love things that have big hooks in them, and I think that there's a lot of songs on this album that have a lot of big hooks, and I still think that there's some heavy stuff on there. Not going to give it all away. This album might get an in defense of video for me after seeing how a lot of people ranked this one, but it's one that I'm actually kind of fond of. But honestly, it's the last Ozzy album that I was really kind of fully engaged with. Down to Earth, I was kind of like that one, but all right, so we'll save that for another video. Next, Judas Priest Turbo, 43% came in saying 3 stars, decent, bunch of good songs, a few clunkers. Next highest was 2 stars, 1 or 2 good songs, overall not very good. 18%, we had 301 votes on this one, by the way, 301 votes, 4 stars. 18% of the 301 votes went with 4 stars, very good, maybe a few weak songs. 8%, 1 star, terrible album. 6%, 5 stars, excellent album, Stone Cold classic. This one for me, this one and Ram It Down, I almost put down Turbo and Ram It Down for this question, but I didn't want it to get too confusing. This one for me loses a lot of points because of the production on it. It's grown on me over the years. It was kind of an I'm out album for me with Judas Priest, although I would come back to Judas Priest with Painkiller. Some of the songs on here, the title track, for instance, has grown on me over the years, and a few of the other songs have, but in general, it's one that doesn't rank too high for me. So I would probably give it 2 stars, 1 or 2 good songs, but overall doesn't really work for me. Ram It Down would fall into the same category. All right, last one, AC/DC's Fly on the Wall. This was interesting, 46%, 3 stars, decent album. Next highest was 2 stars, 1 or 2 good songs, 26%. 17% next highest, 4 stars, very good, maybe 1 or 2 weak songs. 10%, 1 star, and then 2%, 5 stars. 258 votes for AC/DC Fly on the Wall. This one, for me, I actually really like this album. I have to take points away for production. It's not a very good produced album. I know that wasn't something listed here in the thing. We didn't really take that into consideration. But for me, I actually think it's song-wise, it's a pretty strong album. And it's got a lot of deep cuts on it for me. So it's an album that I find myself kind of returning to. It's the last AC/DC album that I followed really closely. I would I would buy them when they came out, but I wasn't as excited about it as I was when Fly on the Wall came out. I mentioned before, I'm a big fan of Flick of the Switch, so I was really excited for Fly on the Wall, but for me it was the first kind of big-ish step down for the band. So for me, I would still, though, give this 4 stars. Very good, maybe only a couple of weak songs, point taken off for production. All right, there you go. The results from the poll. Thank you to everybody who voted. I've been listening to everybody's suggestions for other polls, and I will be putting up some other polls because I think this is really interesting. Okay, there you go. Let me know in the comments down below. A lot of you already commented on these in the poll section. Thanks again. Make sure you check out Lara the Alchemist podcast. Maybe I'll try to do a podcast on this one. It's on Spotify. Leave some comments down below with some future suggestions. And until we see you again, make sure you stay heavy, stay metal.